The quantum lab at MIT hummed with anticipation as Dr. Sarah Chen made her final adjustments to the experimental quantum tunneling device. Her dark eyes reflected the blue glow of holographic displays, showing readings that shouldn't have been possible. After 15 years of research, countless failed attempts, and 3 denied grant renewals, she was about to prove everyone wrong about the possibility of faster-than-light communication. Starting final sequence, she announced to the empty lab, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. The university had stopped funding her official research hours years ago, but being the youngest tenured professor in MIT's history had its perks, like unrestricted lab access during the midnight shift. The quantum harmonics rose to a fever pitch as Sarah initiated the sequence. Golden light sparked between the twin arrays of her device, exactly as her calculations had predicted. Her heart raced as she watched the quantum entanglement readings spike beyond anything Earth's physics should allow. Then everything went wrong. The golden light exploded into a prismatic tornado, ripping through space itself. Sarah dove behind her reinforced observation shield as reality twisted inside her lab. When the light faded, she found herself staring at something impossible, a window into what appeared to be an alien throne room. On an elegant crystalline throne sat a being that defied description. Her form shifted like starlight on water, simultaneously humanoid and utterly alien. Crown-like structures of living light orbited her head, and her eyes held the depth of galaxies. This was Queen Cell-Era of the Asterian Empire, though Sarah wouldn't learn her name until later. Fascinating. The Queen's voice resonated directly in Sarah's mind. You've achieved quantum resonance communication without a basilisk array. Primitive, yet elegant in its simplicity. Sarah stood frozen, her scientific mind racing to process what she was seeing. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth. This was supposed to be a simple quantum tunneling experiment. The Queen's laugh sounded like wind chimes in a stellar wind. There is nothing simple about piercing the quantum veil, Dr. Chen. You've not only succeeded in faster-than-light communication, you've managed to breach the barrier between realms. Quite impressive for a species that hasn't even colonized its own solar system. Fear gave way to scientific curiosity as Sarah stepped closer to the quantum window. You know about Earth. We know of many developing worlds. Your species has caught our attention several times. Your resilience is remarkable, even if your technology is. The Queen paused diplomatically, developing. Then why haven't you made contact before? Our laws forbid interference with pre-FTL civilizations. However, the Queen's form shimmed with amusement. You've rather forced the issue with this experiment of yours. And in doing so, you've proven something I've long suspected about humanity's potential. The Queen rose from her throne, her movement like a cascade of shooting stars. I am Queen Cell-Era, sovereign of the Asterian Empire, keeper of the quantum realms. And I believe you've earned your species a reward, Dr. Chen. Sarah's scientific training warred with her sudden uncertainty. A reward. 3 wishes, to be precise. A tradition among my people when encountering a species that shows particular promise. Choose wisely. They can reshape not only your future, but the fate of your entire species. Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. 3 wishes, like something out of a fairy tale, except this was real. The fate of humanity potentially rested on her choices. Why me? She managed to ask. Because you did what your entire species said was impossible. You reached across the quantum void with nothing but human ingenuity and determination. That kind of potential deserves nurturing. The Queen's eyes sparkled with something that might have been hope. You have time to consider your first wish. Choose carefully, Dr. Chen. The simplest wishes often have the most profound consequences. Sarah looked around her lab, at the decades of work that had led to this moment, and realized that everything was about to change. Humanity's first contact wouldn't come through radio signals or space travel, but through the persistence of one scientist who refused to believe in impossible things. The weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders as she began to contemplate her first wish. Whatever she chose would need to benefit not just herself, but all of humanity. The Queen watched her with infinite patience, waiting for a decision that would reshape the future of two civilizations. Sarah Chen had spent her entire career pursuing the impossible, but now, faced with the opportunity to wish for anything, she found herself thinking of her grandfather's favorite saying, "Knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied." "I know what I want," she said, standing straighter as she faced Queen Celera. "My first wish is for a cultural and scientific exchange program between our species. Not just technology handouts, but true collaboration where both sides learn from each other." The quantum window rippled with the Queen's surprise, her form briefly destabilizing before reforming. "Curious. Most species in your position wish for advanced technology or personal power. Yet you wish for conversation." "Understanding," Sarah corrected. "Humans have a saying, give someone a fish, they eat for a day. Teach them to fish, they eat for a lifetime. We don't need handouts. We need partners." For the first time, Queen Celera's regal composure gave way to genuine interest. In 10,000 years of granting wishes to emerging civilizations, this is unprecedented. You understand you could have wished for your planet's problems to be solved instantly. Sarah smiled. "And then we'd never learn to solve them ourselves. Besides, I'm betting your people might learn something from us too." Bold words from a species that hasn't left its solar system. "Maybe, but we reached you with equipment I built in a university lab. Imagine what we could do together." The Queen's laughter filled the quantum space between them. "Indeed. Very well, Dr. Chen. Your wish is granted, though perhaps not quite as you expect." The lab's sensors began screaming as quantum windows like the one connecting Sarah to the Queen began opening worldwide. Each one connected to a different Asterian facility. Research centers, cultural institutes, universities. Through each window stepped humans and Asterians, beginning an exchange that would reshape both civilizations. Within days, the world transformed. Quantum communication hubs sprouted in every major city, allowing instantaneous exchange of ideas across light years. Asterian scholars marveled at human art, music, and literature, while human scientists worked alongside Asterian researchers, combining Earth's innovative chaos with Asterian precision. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural clashes were inevitable. The Asterians' rigid social hierarchy conflicted with human individualism. Their million-year-old traditions met humanity's rapid-fire adaptability head-on. In New York, an Asterian architect wept at the primitive chaos of the skyline. In Shanghai, a human chef introduced an Asterian gastronomer to street food, leading to a minor diplomatic incident and a major breakthrough in quantum gastronomy. Sarah found herself at the center of it all, working with an Asterian quantum physicist named Zix Telephone. Where she saw shortcuts and intuitive leaps, he saw patterns and ancient principles. Their arguments could be heard across 3 quantum dimensions, but their breakthroughs were changing both societies' understanding of reality itself. "Your species is infuriating," Zixtel told her one day as they worked on combining human quantum tunneling with Asterian basilisk arrays. "You ignore millennia of established theory and somehow achieve the impossible through sheer stubbornness. And your people are so focused on what you already know that you miss new possibilities," Sarah countered, adjusting an equation that by Asterian standards should have been impossible. Maybe that's why the Queen granted the wish. We both had something to learn. But as the exchange deepened, troubling patterns emerged. Some human governments began hoarding Asterian knowledge, leading to growing technological gaps. Certain Asterian factions whispered that humanity was too chaotic, too unpredictable to trust with advanced quantum science. Tensions grew on both sides. Then came the revelation that shook both worlds. A junior human anthropologist, working with Asterian historical records, discovered something the Asterians themselves had forgotten. Their empire hadn't always been the perfect, ordered civilization they believed. Eons ago, they too had been chaotic, innovative, revolutionary. until they traded that spark for stability and power. The discovery sent shockwaves through both societies. Some Asterians began questioning their rigid traditions, while others called for an immediate end to the exchange. Humans found themselves divided between those who saw the Asterian path as a cautionary tale and those who envied their achieved perfection. Sarah watched the growing tension with increasing concern. Her wish had opened doors between worlds, but now those doors were becoming battle lines. As protests erupted in both human and Asterian cities, she realized that her second wish might be needed sooner than she'd thought. Queen Celera's words echoed in her mind. The simplest wishes often have the most profound consequences. She'd wished for understanding between species, but understanding didn't always lead to harmony. Sometimes it just illuminated the depths of their differences. As she stood in her lab, now filled with a mixture of Earth and Asterian technology, Sarah could feel the weight of both worlds watching, waiting to see what would happen next. The cultural exchange had revealed not just the best of both species, but their deepest fears and prejudices as well. The question was, what would they do with that knowledge? The quantum alerts came simultaneously across both civilizations. At first, scientists thought their instruments were malfunctioning. The readings made no sense. Vast regions of space were simply disappearing. Sarah and Zixtel were in their joint laboratory when the news broke. The holographic displays showed vast swaths of the cosmos going dark, as if someone was erasing reality itself. "It's impossible," Zixtel muttered, his crystalline form flickering with anxiety. "Nothing can destabilize quantum fields at this scale." Nothing. Sarah watched as another star system vanished from their displays. Clearly something can, and it's accelerating. The phenomenon, dubbed the void by human media, was consuming space at an exponential rate. Asterian colonies went dark one by one. Earth's long-range quantum sensors, newly installed as part of the exchange program, showed the wave of nothingness approaching their solar system. Queen Celera called an emergency joint session of human and Asterian leaders. Her image, projected simultaneously across thousands of quantum windows worldwide, showed unprecedented concern. "The void represents the unraveling of space-time itself," she announced. "Our models predict it will reach Earth's solar system in 30 days and the heart of the Asterian Empire in 45. No single civilization possesses the knowledge to stop it." The implications were clear. Either they would solve this together, or both civilizations would cease to exist. The joint initiative was formed within hours. Sarah found herself appointed as Earth's lead scientist, working alongside Zixtel and a team of the brightest minds from both species. They set up headquarters in a massive quantum-linked facility that existed simultaneously on Earth and in the Asterian capital. "The void is consuming quantum information itself," Sarah explained during their first briefing. "It's like a cosmic delete button, erasing the very code of reality." "Our ancestors spoke of something similar," an elderly Asterian archivist added. "The Great Forgetting," they called it. "We always thought it was myth." As they worked, the unlikely partnership between humans and Asterians began to show its strength. Asterian quantum mathematics provided the theoretical framework, while human intuition and creativity found new applications for ancient formulae. What one species saw as impossible, the other saw as an opportunity. But time was running out. The void accelerated, defying their predictions. 20 days became 15, then 10. Evacuations began on Earth's outer colonies, though everyone knew there was nowhere truly safe to run. Sarah worked until she could barely stand, pushing the boundaries of quantum science. She saw the same dedication in her Asterian colleagues, their usual rigid formality giving way to desperate innovation. The barriers between species blurred in the face of extinction. Then, during a rare break, Sarah noticed something in the data streams, a pattern so subtle it had eluded the Asterians' complex analysis. The void wasn't random. It was following the quantum tunneling frequencies, the same ones she'd used to first contact Queen Celera. "It's not eating reality," She realized with sudden clarity. It's following our breadcrumbs. Every quantum window we've opened, every tunneling experiment, we've been marking targets for it. The revelation changed everything. The void wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was more like an immune system response to their quantum tampering. Reality itself was trying to seal the holes they'd punctured through spacetime. But understanding the problem wasn't the same as solving it. As the team raced to find a solution, Sarah found herself thinking about her second wish. She'd been saving it, waiting for the right moment. Now, with both civilizations on the brink of annihilation, she wondered if any wish could be enough. The answer came from an unexpected source. A young human programmer, working with Asterian quantum code, discovered that the void's expansion followed patterns similar to Earth's computer viruses. If reality was like a computer, maybe they could rewrite its code. The plan they developed was either brilliant or insane. They would use the combined power of every quantum window, every tunneling device, every basilisk array in both civilizations to essentially hack spacetime itself. The Asterians would provide the precision and power, while human viral algorithms would do the impossible, reprogram reality. If we fail, Zixtel warned, we could accelerate the void's expansion. Both our civilizations would have hours instead of days. Sarah looked at the screens showing the approaching darkness. And if we do nothing, we're guaranteed to lose everything. As they prepared for humanity's greatest gamble, Sarah knew she would need her second wish sooner than she'd thought. But first, they had to survive long enough to use it. The combined quantum network of Earth and the Asterian Empire hummed with unprecedented power. Every quantum window, every tunneling device, and every basilisk array had been synchronized into a single vast system. Sarah stood at the primary control interface, her hands hovering over the holographic controls, while Zixtel monitored the Asterian systems. All Asterian arrays are at full power, he reported, his crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy. We'll only get one chance at this. The plan was audacious. They would use Earth's viral algorithms to infect the fabric of spacetime itself, while Asterian quantum mathematics would guide and control the infection. If it worked, they could rewrite the rules that allowed the void to exist. If it failed, they'd give it a direct path to both their worlds. Ready to initiate viral sequence, called out Dr. Maya Patel, the programmer who'd first seen the connection between the void and computer viruses. Her fingers flew over multiple keyboards as she prepared to launch the most important code ever written. Queen Celera's image appeared in the central quantum window. The void has breached the outer reaches of your solar system, Dr. Chen. Whatever you're going to do, it must be now. Sarah took a deep breath. Initialize the sequence. The combined power of two civilizations surged through the quantum network. Maya's code, a beautiful fusion of human chaos and Asterian precision, began its work. On the massive displays, they could see the viral algorithms spreading through the quantum fields, racing to meet the approaching void. Then everything went wrong. The void is adapting, Zixtel shouted. It's consuming our viral code faster than we can deploy it. Sarah watched in horror as their carefully crafted program dissolved into nothingness. The void wasn't just following their quantum breadcrumbs anymore. It was actively hunting them. Every attempt to rewrite reality was being countered and consumed. We need more power, Maya said, frantically adjusting her code. The algorithm works, but we can't deploy it fast enough. Sarah looked at the power readings from the combined networks. They were already at maximum capacity. Every quantum device in both civilizations was giving everything it had. Everything except the wishes, she realized. They're quantum constructs, too. The most powerful ones in existence. Understanding dawned in Zixtel's multifaceted eyes. The Queen's wish-granting ability comes from her connection to the quantum substrate of reality itself. If you used your second wish. I wish, Sarah began, her voice carrying through every quantum window, reaching Queen Celera, for the power to complete our task. The Queen's form flickered, surprise evident in her cosmic eyes. Are you certain? To grant this wish, I would have to give you direct access to the quantum powers that allow me to grant wishes in the first place. No mortal has ever wielded such power. The void consumed another solar system. Earth's Jupiter went dark. We're out of options, Sarah said. Grant the wish. Reality shifted. Power beyond imagination flowed through Sarah, burning through her consciousness like starfire. She could see everything. Every quantum string, every possibility, every layer of reality itself. It was beautiful and terrifying, and almost too much for a human mind to comprehend. Now, she screamed through the pain. Maya launched the viral sequence again, but this time it was powered by the same energy that allowed the Queen to reshape reality. The code spread faster than the void could adapt, infecting the quantum fabric of space-time with its new instructions. Sarah felt every change, every line of code as it rewrote the rules of existence. The power was overwhelming, threatening to burn out her mind, but she held on. Through the quantum windows, she could see the void beginning to retreat, reality reasserting itself in its wake. But there was a cost. As the power flowed through her, Sarah realized that human minds weren't meant to channel such energies. She could feel herself burning up from the inside, her consciousness fragmenting under the strain. Sarah, Zixtel called out in alarm. Your neural patterns are destabilizing. You have to let go. She couldn't. Not yet. The void was still retreating, but if she released the power too soon, it would all be for nothing. Through failing vision, she saw Maya's code reaching completion, rewriting the final strings of reality's quantum matrix. The void disappeared as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving restored space-time in its wake. Sarah collapsed as the power left her, her mind raw and fragmented from the experience. The last thing she saw before consciousness fled was Queen Celera's face, filled with an emotion she'd never shown before: respect. Rest, Dr. Chen. The Queen's voice echoed in her fading thoughts. You still have one wish left, and I suspect you're going to need it. Sarah awakened in a room that existed in two places at once. Through one window, she could see the Boston skyline. Through another, the crystalline spires of the Asterian capital. Her mind felt fragmented, memories scattered like stars across a broken sky. The human mind was never meant to channel such power. Queen Celera's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. The damage to your neural pathways is extensive. Sarah tried to focus, but thoughts slipped away like quantum particles, impossible to pin down. She could remember equations that hadn't been written yet and forget her own name in the same moment. The power that had saved both civilizations had left her consciousness fractured across quantum dimensions. How long? She managed to ask. 3 weeks, Zixtel answered, his crystalline form appearing beside her bed. The viral code successfully rewrote the quantum matrices. Both our civilizations are safe, but the cost. She understood the cost. She could feel it in the way her thoughts scattered, in the way reality seemed to shift and blur around her. The power had burned through her mind, leaving something both more and less than human. The joint initiative has evolved, Maya explained, entering with a tablet full of data. We're using what we learned to build something new. Human creativity and Asterian precision, working together to protect against future threats. We're calling it the Quantum Guard. Sarah smiled, though the expression felt strange on her face. And the cultural exchange. Flourishing, Queen Celera said. Your people's resilience has inspired mine to remember who they once were, and your sacrifice has earned humanity a permanent place among the stellar nations. But Sarah was barely listening. Her fragmented consciousness was assembling a pattern, seeing connections that only her quantum-touched mind could perceive. The damage to her brain wasn't just damage, it was evolution. She was becoming something new, something that existed between human and Asterian understanding. You still have one wish, the Queen reminded her gently. I could restore you, make you fully human again. Sarah looked at her hands, seeing not just flesh, but the quantum strings that composed them, the infinite possibilities contained in each moment. "No," she said finally. I wish for this gift to be shared. Not the full power that would destroy most minds, but enough. Enough for humanity to truly understand its place in the quantum universe, and enough for Asterians to remember the beauty of chaos." The Queen's form stilled. "You would use your final wish not to save yourself, but to change both our species forever. Isn't that what this was always about?" Sarah asked. "Not just cultural exchange, but true understanding. Real change." As the wish took hold, reality shifted subtly around them. Across Earth, humans began to perceive the quantum nature of existence, their minds expanding to grasp concepts that had once been beyond them. Throughout the Asterian Empire, rigid patterns of thought began to flex and change, remembering the creative fire they had once possessed. The transformation wasn't dramatic or sudden. It was subtle, a gradual awakening that would unfold over generations. Human scientists found themselves understanding Asterian mathematics instinctively, while Asterian artists rediscovered the joy of unpredictability. "The joint initiative will need leadership," Queen Celera said, watching the changes ripple across realities. "Someone who understands both perspectives, who can bridge the quantum divide." Sarah stood, her fractured consciousness simultaneously a weakness and a strength. "I think I finally understand why you granted those wishes. You saw something in humanity, not just what we are, but what we could become, what we could help your people remember." The Queen's cosmic eyes sparkled. "And what do you see now, Dr. Chen, with your new perspective?" Sarah looked out at both Boston and the Asterian capital, seeing not two separate cities, but points on the same quantum continuum. "I see possibility. Infinite possibility." In the years that followed, the story of humanity's first contact and the three wishes became legend. But it wasn't the wishes themselves that changed everything. It was the choices behind them. The choice to seek understanding over power, cooperation over dominance, and evolution over restoration. Sarah Chen, neither fully human nor quite Asterian, led the joint initiative into a new age. Under her guidance, both civilizations learned from each other, growing in ways neither could have imagined alone. The quantum awareness she had gifted them became a bridge not just between species, but between what they were and what they could become. And in quiet moments, when she looked up at the stars with her quantum-touched senses, she could see the ripples of change spreading outward, touching other civilizations, other possibilities. The three wishes hadn't just saved two species, they had set the stage for something much bigger. The universe, it seemed, was ready for something new, something that combined human chaos and Asterian order, Earth's determination and the Empire's wisdom. Something that began with a simple experiment in a Boston lab and ended with the transformation of two civilizations. The future, as Sarah liked to say, was both perfectly predictable and wonderfully impossible to know, just the way it should be.